The 49ers drafted Trey Lance 3rd overall in 2021, and they hypothetically traded away Tyreek Hill, Jalen Waddle, and Bradley Chubb for him. And not even 4 years later, Trey Lance is now a backup in the NFL. So Trey Lance is a 72 overall in Madden 22 with hidden development. I don't remember what development he did have in this game, so I guess we'll have to wait and find out. But he does have 91 throw power, 85 short accuracy, 79 medium, 79 deep, 83 throw in the run, 85 play action, and his awareness is only a 61. So I'm not sure if I should be concerned about that. Probably. His speed is an 87, acceleration 90, agility 87, and carrying 68. So overall, not too bad, I'd say, especially for a rookie. 87 speed is phenomenal, but also we got to remember at this time Trey Lance was coming out of college and he was the 3rd overall pick, but he is only 21 years old in this game, and we're going to give Trey Lance 4 years. Now, if we do go ahead and take a look at his team around him, though, we have Deebo Samuel at an 89 overall. We also have a young Brandon Ayuk at a 79, and then Mohamed Sanu 72 overall as our wide receiver 3 as well. So we're gonna have to upgrade that position. We have Raheem Mostert at running back with Elijah Mitchell and Trey Sermon, and then Jimmy G and Trey Lance at the quarterback position, which Jimmy G is either gonna get traded or cut, or maybe he'll just back up Trey Lance, but I do not want him on the roster stealing the reps. We also do have George Kittle as well at a 97 overall, and Trent Williams at a 98. The defense is pretty good as well. We have Nick Bosa at a 93, DJ Jones at a 76, Javon Kinlaw, who is now with the Jets, at a 75, and then Eric Armstead at an 87, who is now with the Jaguars. Then we have Jason Verrett at an 83 overall, Quan Williams at a 78, and we even have an older Josh Norman at a 72 overall. And then Dre Greenlaw at right outside linebacker with Fred Warner and Jimmy Ward. I think this is going to be a fun one here. You know, we have Trey Lance to work with, and we also have this 49ers team before they had Christian McCaffrey, so I feel like Trey Lance has a lot around him, especially in this offense for year number 1 to succeed. And at the top of my list, I am looking for another wide receiver to pair up with Brandon Ayuk and Deebo Samuel. So let's go ahead and search the trade market and see who we can potentially add to this already stacked 49ers offense. And I like this move for multiple reasons. We're only giving up a 3rd and a future 6th for next year for Jarvis Landry at an 83 overall, and he is 28 years old, but like I said, we just need another wide receiver 3 right now. So overall, a good trade for us. It's probably going to be the only trade we do make in year number 1. Just kind of wanted to briefly upgrade that wide receiving core very slightly. And we are going to make one last trade here before we sim to end of year number 1. We're going to trade Jimmy Garoppolo to the Indianapolis Colts for a 2nd round pick this year. So we basically just got Jarvis Landry for free. Considering we gave up a 3rd and a future 6th, this basically makes up for it. So hey, I'm cool with it. Jimmy G was just going to sit on the bench and we get a 2nd round pick out of him. We're looking good. The future should be bright with Trey Lance and this offense. And now for the season goal, we want to make it to the Super Bowl. That is the goal every single year, and I think we have the team capable to make it this far. It's going to be all up to Trey Lance if he wants to make the Super Bowl or not. And wow, what a season we did have. We won the NFC West going 11-6, and we are playing in this week's wildcard game versus the Washington football team. The Seahawks finished 10-7 right under us, the Rams 9-8, and the Cardinals 7-10. And what a year from Trey Lance. 4.3k yards, 38 touchdowns, 13 interceptions with a 68% completion percentage. And then on the ground, Raheem Mostert had 775 yards with 3 touchdowns. Elijah Mitchell 750 yards with 15 touchdowns. And then Trey Lance only ran the ball 38 times for 141 yards. Trey Sermon had 2 touchdowns and Kyle Juszczyk also had 1. And then I am so glad we added Jarvis Landry. He had almost 100 catches with 99. 1.3k yards and 11 touchdowns. That is why you make those type of moves. Adding Jarvis Landry, he led the team in catches, yards, and touchdowns. George Kittle 93 catches, 1,000 yards, and 9 touchdowns. Deebo Samuel 59 catches, 918 yards, and 10. Brandon Ayuk had 52 catches as well for 691 yards and 4 touchdowns. Fred Warner led the team in tackles, and of course Nick Bosa and Eric Armstead tied with 12.5 sacks leading the team. And then Jason Verrett with 5 interceptions. So we are taking on Washington this week. Let's see if Trey Lance can get it done and get his first win in the playoffs in only year number 1. And it looks like we do lose to the Commanders 28-14 in the wild card round, but Trey Lance 228 yards with 2 touchdowns, no interceptions, with a 68% completion percentage. So overall, definitely not how we wanted to end year number 1, but considering that we went 11-6, won the division, I know we didn't get that playoff win. So entering year number 2, this is what our team is looking like. Trey Lance goes up to a 78 overall. It looks like Alex Mack dropped 5 overalls during the offseason. Elijah Mitchell is now our running back 1. Deebo at a 90. Jarvis Landry gets superstar Dev, and Brandon Ayuk up to an an 80 overall, he goes up by 1. And the offense just pretty much looks the same. Only difference is that Trey Lance went up 5 overall, so that is great to see. And Jason Verrett goes up to a superstar. Nick Bosa is up to a 96. Fred Warner is a 96 as well. We are going to start the season off with a huge trade. We're going to be trading a second this year and a third next year, and Shahir to the Los Angeles Rams for Cam Akers, 85 overall running back. So we're just basically upgrading that running back room even more than what it is right now. And now we add Cam Akers on the offense with Elijah Mitchell. So our running backs are actually pretty deep on the depth chart. We have a ton of guys over there. At any point, if you can upgrade your team, even if it's by 1 overall, I will take it. You know, Cam Akers an 85 overall. We upgraded from Elijah Mitchell, and Cam Akers is a little bit on the younger side as well. We're definitely gonna have to look towards a different receiver because Jarvis Landry is 29 right now, turning 30 soon. So year number 2 didn't really go as well as we wanted it to, as we finished third in the NFC West, going 7-10. Definitely a down year from last year. We went 11-6, had a pretty solid year, and this year just wasn't it for us. The Cardinals did win the NFC West though at a 9-8 record, so this division wasn't really even up at a competition. It was just whoever wanted to win more. This season though, Trey Lance has another good year, almost throwing for 5K passing yards, 4.9 thousand, 40 touchdowns, 20 interceptions with a 69% completion percentage. He's throwing a ton of touchdowns, but a lot of interceptions, and that could be the reason why we did not make the playoffs. But other than the interception part, Trey Lance had a great season once again, almost throwing for 5,000 yards. Cam Akers, though, on the ground ran 318 times for 1,135 yards and 5 touchdowns. Elijah Mitchell ran 86 times for 264 yards and 9. And then Trey Lance 30 for 90, not really too realistic on the ground game. George Kittle had 88 catches for 1,200 yards and 7 touchdowns. Deebo Samuel 74, 1,112. Brandon Ayuk had 70 catches, 1,000 yards and 13 touchdowns. And then Jarvis Landry 76 catches, 883 yards and 5 touchdowns. So on the receiving end, we almost had 4 receivers go over the 1,000 yard mark. Offensive line, once again, a pretty solid year. Dre Greenlaw did lead the team in tackles with 121. And then Nick Bosa 12.5 sacks, and Fred Warner had 5 interceptions. So once again, not how we wanted to end our year, only winning 7 games. So at the start of year number 3, this is what our team is looking like. Trey Lance is now up to an 81 overall with Superstar X Factor. Deebo Samuel goes up 2 overalls to a 92. Cam Akers goes up 3 overalls to an 88 overall. Elijah Mitchell is still here as well. Looks like we still have Trey Sermon, and we added Jamal Williams, so that running back group is stacked. Jarvis Landry goes up 1 overall to an 84. Brandon Ayuk is now up to an 82, who we will be starting at wide receiver number 2 for development reasons, because Jarvis Landry is now 30 years old. We added Joshua Dobbs to back up Trey Lance and James Washington. George Kittle still at a 99. Now on the defensive side of the ball, we didn't really do too much. We added Corey Littleton, and that is pretty much about it. We also added Fenton at a 79 overall, and the defense looks pretty lackluster as well, and the offensive line just doesn't look too good right now, but it's definitely middle of the pack. We lost Trent Williams. That's a huge loss overall on the board, so we will be sending away a 2nd round pick this year and Jarvis Landry and a 4th rounder next year to the Chargers for Mike Williams at an 89 overall. We're going to upgrade that receiving core just slightly, so we send away Jarvis Landry, we get 5 overalls higher in Mike Williams. I think this is a great fit for us. Adding another receiver here and trading one away, we added Jarvis Landry in the first season, and he led the team in catches, yards, and touchdowns. Now we had Mike Williams. Let's see if he can do the same for us this year. Definitely not a great year. We didn't have a positive record. We did win the NFC West though, going 8-9 and making the playoffs, when we're taking on the Minnesota Vikings in the first round. The Cardinals went 7-10, Rams 6-11, and Seahawks 5-12. Not a great year, like I said, but we made the playoffs. That's what's most important, I'd say. Trey Lance, a little bit of a down year. I like that he dropped the interceptions and cut it in half, but he did have 4.2K passing yards with 27 touchdowns, 10 interceptions with a 66% completion percentage. We also, for some reason, had 4 quarterbacks in the roster. That does not make sense to me, and Joshua Dobbs is wearing number 22. On the ground, though, Cam Akers had 1,196 yards with 9 touchdowns. Elijah Mitchell, 485 yards and 6 touchdowns. Trey Lance, 158 yards. And then Kyle Juszczyk also had 2 rushing touchdowns. George Kittle had 1,200 yards, 6 touchdowns with 98 catches. Brandon Ayuk, 66 catches. He just got over 1,000 yards with 10 touchdowns. Deebo Samuel, 60 catches, 943 yards with 7 touchdowns. Then Mike Williams, 44 catches, 582 yards and 3 touchdowns. So not a great year for Mike Williams after we just traded away a 2nd and a future 4th. And Jarvis Landry for him. He was the wide receiver too, so I'm not sure how he only had 44 catches for 500 yards and 3 touchdowns, but Fred Warner led the team in tackles with 116, and then Eric Armstead had 7 sacks, and Jason Verrett with 5 interceptions. Good to see him still going going at it. And now we are taking on the Minnesota Vikings. Let's see if Trey Lance can finally get us a playoff win here in year number 3. So not what we wanted. We lost to the Vikings in the wild card 24-21. Once again, another year with no playoff win. Now we're going into the final year of this sim with not really too much high hopes here. We just gotta hope Trey Lance can turn it up like he did year number 1. Overall right now, if this video did end right here, I would say Trey Lance successfully did revive his career because he was balling out these last 3 years. Here we are now in year number 4, the final year of this simulation. Trey Lance is going to be at an 84 overall with Superstar X Factor. Cam Akers is up to a 90, and Elijah Mitchell is up to an 86. Deebo Samuel goes up to a 93, and Mike Williams is at 90. It looks like Brandon Ayuk finally decided to leave. Our offensive line once again not looking too great, but we'll see what happens. Hopefully they can actually produce this year, not allow 10 sacks each. George Kittle goes down 1 overall to a 98, and let's check out the defense. Once again, doesn't look too good. Looks like we have not added anyone on the defense again for a second year in a row, but Nick Bosa goes up to a 99, and Fred Warner is a 98. Our cornerback room, our secondary, is looking completely terrible right now. Troy Pride is our cornerback number 3. That should basically say that we're probably not winning too many games this year, but that's all we can do in the final year of this simulation, is just cross our fingers and hope for the best, and hope Trey Lance can perform like a superstar quarterback. And would you look at that, I love to see it. We do make the playoffs with an 11-6 record. We win the NFC West with the Rams going 10-7, Cardinals going 10-7, and the Seahawks going 6-11. And we are taking on Kyler Murray and the Arizona Cardinals in the wildcard round once again. In the 4 years of this simulation, we've made the playoffs 3 times. This is the 3rd year, and we have yet to get a playoff win, so let's hope this is the year. And Trey Lance very low on the yards category, almost 4K yards with 3.9, but 38 touchdowns and 7 interceptions. You love to see it. 67% completion percentage. Great year from Trey Lance, but Cam Akers on the ground adds 1.5K yards and 13 touchdowns. Elijah Mitchell adds 553 yards and 6. And Trey Lance finally scores a rushing touchdown, and he adds 2 in the final year of this sim with 142 yards. Deebo Samuel goes over 1,000 yards with 70 catches and 6 touchdowns. George Kittle, 78 catches, 910 yards and 12. Nick Westbrook-Ikhine, not sure why he's getting any playing time on the team, assuming he's the wide receiver 3, but 54 catches, 720 yards and 7 touchdowns. Mike Williams, 59 catches, 707 yards and 7 touchdowns. Fred Warner once again led the team in tackles with 125. Nick Bosa led the team in sacks with 11.5. And Fred Warner led the team in interceptions again with 4. But it is time to hopefully get our first playoff win of the video. Please, please, Trey Lance, just get this done and get 1 playoff win. And we lose to the Cardinals 24-10, and that's going to put a wrap on it. That is going to do it for this one, though. Trey Lance ends the video at an 88 overall with Superstar X Factor. We didn't get any playoff wins, but stat-wise, I would consider this a success. Trey Lance balled out. We've never seen him play like that. I understand he hasn't really gotten a chance to play like that, but for now, I would consider this a successful video in my books. And if you guys did enjoy, make sure to hit that like button, subscribe, and turn those post notifications on so you never miss another video from the GOAT Who Days himself. And until next time, it's Tyler signing off. See ya.